they didn't just send cops to arrest him. They sent fake ones, and the twist at the end will prove why the wrong man was the biggest mistake they ever made. Marcus Reed was the kind of neighbor people trusted. Quiet, polite, always the first to shovel snow from the sidewalk. But the HOA president, Linda Grayson, saw him as a problem because Marcus refused to bow. When she demanded he remove his security cameras, Marcus calmly showed the rules. Cameras were allowed. Linda smiled anyway. Rules change, she said. 2 weeks later, Marcus was watering his front lawn when a black SUV rolled up. Two men stepped out wearing dark uniforms, badges shining too brightly. One held handcuffs like it was a performance. Marcus Reed? The taller one asked. You're under arrest for trespassing on shared HOA property. Neighbors peeked through curtains. Phones came out. Linda stood across the street pretending to look shocked, but her eyes were glowing with satisfaction. Marcus didn't panic. He didn't resist. He only asked one question: which department? The men hesitated. County, they said quickly. Marcus nodded slowly, then looked straight at his camera mounted above the porch. It was recording everything. He raised his hands calmly and said, "Okay. But call your supervisor. Now." The fake officer smirked. "We don't need to." Marcus whispered, almost to himself, "Yes, you do." The fake officers stepped closer, acting confident, but their eyes kept darting around like they were afraid of being seen. Marcus stayed calm, hands still raised, but his mind was sharp. He had served long enough to recognize real authority. These men didn't have it. Their uniforms were too clean, their radios too silent, their badges too new. One neighbor, Mrs. Collins, walked out with her phone recording. "What's happening?" she asked. Linda rushed over, pretending to protect her. "Please go inside," Linda warned loudly, as if she cared. But her smile kept slipping through. The taller fake officer grabbed Marcus's wrist. "Turn around," he ordered. Marcus didn't fight. He simply spoke. "Steady and clear, you're not county. Your patch is wrong. And your badge number is missing." The man's grip tightened. Linda's voice rose. "Stop arguing and cooperate." She snapped. "You've caused enough trouble." Marcus looked at her, finally. "Trouble?" he said softly. "Linda, you don't even know what you started." Then Marcus did something that made everyone pause. He asked the fake officer to read the warrant out loud. The second officer reached into his jacket, pulled out a folded paper, and held it upside down for a second before flipping it. Marcus saw it instantly. No seal, no case number, no judge signature. Marcus nodded like the final puzzle piece clicked. He turned his head toward the camera and said one sentence that sounded almost like a warning: "Dispatch is already on the way." The fake officers froze. Linda didn't understand why. Yet, the taller fake officer tried to laugh it off. "Nice bluff," he said, pulling Marcus toward the SUV. But Marcus wasn't bluffing. He had quietly pressed a hidden panic button under his porch rail the moment the SUV arrived. It didn't call friends. It didn't call neighbors. It triggered a direct alert to a private security network linked to the city. Linda stepped closer, voice sweet like poison. "This is what happens when you disrespect the board," she whispered. "You thought cameras would save you?" Marcus looked past her, watching the street. "No," he said. "Truth will." The second fake officer's phone buzzed. He checked it and went pale. Marcus saw the message reflection in his sunglasses: "Real unit en route. Do not engage." The man swallowed hard. Suddenly a siren echoed in the distance. Not loud yet, but growing. Neighbors stepped outside like a wave. People recorded from balconies. Linda's confidence cracked. "What is this?" she hissed. Marcus spoke gently, almost kindly. "You hired actors," he said. "But you forgot one thing: actors panic when the real spotlight hits." The fake officers exchanged looks. The taller one muttered, "We're leaving." He tried to push Marcus into the SUV faster, but Marcus planted his feet and said, "You touch me again, and this becomes a felony on camera." That word, felony, hit them like ice. Linda's face tightened. She whispered, "Finish it." But the siren was now close. Too close. And then a police cruiser turned the corner, lights flashing in bright daytime. Behind it, a black unmarked car. The cruiser stopped hard at the curb. A uniformed officer stepped out fast, scanning the scene. The fake officers stiffened like children caught cheating. Linda forced a smile and walked forward, waving her HOA badge like it mattered. "Officer, thank goodness you're here. This man is trespassing." The real officer raised a hand. "Ma'am, stay back." Then the black unmarked car door opened. A tall man stepped out wearing a crisp suit, calm and controlled. His presence silenced the street. Marcus's neighbors didn't know him, but the real officer straightened instantly, respectful. The suited man looked at Marcus, then at the two fake officers. "Marcus Reed," he said, voice low. "Are you all right?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, Chief." Linda's mouth opened slightly. "Chief?" she repeated, confused. The fake officers took one step back. The taller one tried to speak. We're county contractors." The chief didn't blink. "County contractors don't arrest people," he said. "And they don't wear stolen uniforms." He walked closer, eyes sharp. "Who sent you?" The second fake officer looked at Linda for half a second. It was quick, but cameras caught it. Mrs. Collins gasped loudly. "Oh my God. It's her." Linda's face turned stiff. "That's ridiculous," she snapped. "They're lying." The chief held up a phone. On the screen was Marcus's live camera feed. "Everything is recorded," he said. "Including that fake warrant." Linda tried to step away, but the real officer moved gently in her path. "Ma'am," he said, "we need you to stay here." The fake officers panicked. One ran toward the SUV. The other tried to blend into the crowd. But the chief's voice cut through the air like a lock clicking shut. "Stop. Now." They stopped. The chief didn't raise his voice again. He didn't need to. Two additional units arrived quietly, boxing the SUV in from both sides. The fake officer's confidence collapsed. The taller one tried to negotiate. "Look, we were hired. We didn't hurt anyone." Marcus finally lowered his hands. His wrists were red, but his face stayed steady. "You tried to take me," he said. "In front of witnesses." Linda suddenly exploded. "This is insane," she shouted. "Marcus is a liar. He's been spying on neighbors with those cameras." Marcus turned to her slowly. "Those cameras saved me," he said. "And they saved this neighborhood from you." The chief asked for IDs. The fake officers handed over cards that looked printed at home. One had a badge number that matched a Halloween costume listing online. A neighbor laughed nervously, then stopped when she realized it wasn't funny. Linda's voice trembled now. "Chief, you don't understand. The HOA has authority." The chief looked at her like she was speaking a different language. "HOA authority is not law enforcement," he said. "You cannot impersonate police. You cannot order arrests. And you cannot hide behind a board meeting." Linda tried to shift blame. "They acted on their own." But Marcus's camera audio played from the chief's phone, Linda whispering, "Finish it." Clear as daylight. The crowd went silent. Mrs. Collins stepped forward, still recording. "Linda, what did you do?" she asked. Linda's eyes darted from phone to faces to uniforms. For the first time, she looked small. The chief nodded once to the real officer. "Detain them," he said. Linda's knees nearly buckled. She realized the story wasn't ending at the HOA office. It was going to court. The news spread before sunset. HOA president involved in fake arrest attempt. The headline hit harder than any fine letter ever could. Linda tried damage control, sending emails about misunderstandings and security concerns. But nobody believed her anymore. At the station, the fake officers confessed quickly. They weren't cops. They were private security workers paid cash. The payment came through a third party, but the instructions were clear: scare Marcus, remove him, make an example. The detective asked, why Marcus? One fake officer shrugged. She said he was dangerous. That he had too much influence. In reality, Marcus had influence because he was kind. He helped neighbors with repairs. He listened when people complained about HOA bullying. And worst of all, he knew the rules better than Linda did. The chief met Marcus privately. You could have called me earlier, he said. Marcus nodded. I wanted it on record, he replied. If I stopped her quietly, she'd do it to someone else. That was the twist. Marcus didn't set a trap for revenge. He set it for protection. Court day arrived with cameras outside. Linda walked in wearing sunglasses, pretending confidence. But inside, the footage played on a large screen: the fake badge, the upside-down warrant, Linda's whisper, her satisfied smile. The judge didn't care about HOA politics. He cared about facts. And the facts were brutal. When the judge asked Linda, "Did you arrange this?" her voice broke. "I only wanted him to stop," she whispered. The judge replied, "Then you chose the worst way possible." The ruling didn't feel dramatic. It felt final. The judge ordered strict penalties for impersonation involvement and referred the case for deeper investigation. Linda's HOA power vanished in one sentence: you are removed from the board effective immediately. Outside court, neighbors stood in bright daylight, stunned. Some were angry at themselves for staying silent so long. Others cried quietly, realizing how close the community came to a real tragedy. Marcus didn't celebrate. He walked out with calm steps, but his eyes looked tired. Mrs. Collins approached him, phone lowered now. "I'm sorry," she said. "We should have spoken up sooner." Marcus nodded. "You did today," he replied. The chief joined him on the courthouse steps. Cameras flashed. Reporters asked, "Chief, why were you personally involved?" The chief looked at Marcus, then answered, "Because Marcus Reed is one of ours. He served this city. And he deserves to feel safe in his own home." Linda watched from a distance, alone, realizing the HOA wasn't a crown. It was a responsibility she abused. A new board was elected within weeks. The community rules were rewritten with transparency. And Marcus kept his cameras. This time, neighbors asked him to help install theirs too. As the sun reflected on the quiet street, Marcus finally smiled. Not because he won, but because the neighborhood woke up, and that was the final twist in this unbelievable HOA story. If you love the drama, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment sharing your thoughts. It really helps this channel grow.